Okay, so I don't know what happened with that block. But you can see this is how blocks break. I guess the reason this broke is... Yeah, you can see it's actually going to fall into the water here. So that's pretty cool. There's some interesting stuff with this. Let's have a look. So let's look at this door. So all the blocks, from what I can tell, have got their own sort of crumple effect, which is kind of cool. You can do ragdoll, fractured blood. Let's try fractured blood, I guess. We'll just try it on a sheep here. That's pretty crazy. Let's look at the other option. That's fractured blood. Blocky. Let's do ragdoll as well. Okay. And the next one is... Well, we probably know what fractured looks like. Fractured blood is an extension of that. But we've also got the... let's do blocky. I'll do blocky as well now. That one's cool. That one is cool. And if we look at the actual options for that, okay, so you can. So this just lets you specify each one individually. So that's kind of cool. Block settings, you just get fractured and blocky. Okay, so it's all extent. So mob basically has the whole lot. Block just has a bit less. I guess we should also just look at how, like, we cut down a tree, for example, how that might look. See, that's got a really cool effect. So it actually does. It is like a tree capitator mod as well. Let's just look at that. Let's look at that in F5. It might look cool. That's pretty awesome, actually. That is pretty awesome. Can be difficult, like for instance with this spruce. I'm trying to get through to the log here because it grew in a funny way. Very difficult to play like that. Let's just do a... Wow. Yeah, it's not very... It looks like it only takes the block which is directly above it. So if you see this, it's going to do like a whole line above it. Yeah. It's kind of basic rules in comparison with a lot of the tree capitator mods. It's not great. And physics object scale. Should we make that much bigger? Let's do the scale bigger. See what that does. Yeah, and it'd be interesting. I think probably would be interesting is then increase the lifetime of it. Isn't there a lifetime thing? Break particles on. We didn't check that either. Let's do that on dirt. It's still going, this thing. It's only interesting. It's still going. That's an interesting. Don't do this option then. It looks like. Are you quite finished yet? No, you haven't. You haven't. Well, that's a fun way to completely mess up a server, I would think. You're literally still going. It's because it's keeps on looking for blocks to break. Yeah, there need to be better menu options. But look at this, it's like bizarre. But anyway, we're going to move to somewhere else though. What was I going to check out there? That was just the block breaking, yeah. It looks normal. Looks normal. Maybe that didn't work. Let's do a much lower scale, and instead we'll increase the lifetime of the block. That's probably more likely what you might want to actually do. Yeah, I think so. That's a lot cleaner, isn't it? Yeah, and then you just have this debris all over the place, which is kind of actually more aesthetically appealing to have it like that. I mean, that probably lifetime is a bit too long, but you get the idea with that. But yeah, pretty cool mod anyway. A lot of cool stuff you can do with that. Let's see if there's anything else I can think of. I can also turn collapse blocks on. Let's try turning that off. I think that is probably the cool effect, right? Oh, it just doesn't do it. Yeah, so if you do collapse blocks off, that's going to be a lot faster because it literally just does the animation of breaking it. It also looks like it turns off the tree capitator thing as well. So we're going to be looking at some of the stuff here. So here we can see we have Pyrex. Let's get ourselves a pickaxe. Let's take a look, see what happens when we mine it. So we're going to get some gunpowder from it. And you can see that it will explode when hit by a glassed fireball. Let's got a few achievements here. Wow, that was an interesting one. There you go. The other thing about Pyrex, you can see there's quite a lot of experience coming from Pyrex here. Did Night Vision always do this? I feel like I've never seen this before. Why is it so clear in the lava? You can see we've also got some Pyrex pretty low down here next to bedrock. So yeah, significant amount of Pyrex here underground. Kind of cool looking at the surface of the lava. You can see where all the ancient debris is. Okay, so the next thing I want to look at here is the debris structure. So actually we're quite near one. Let's go have a look. See if we can see this debris structure. Not necessarily that easy to find. Okay, looks like we found it though. It says that something called ignistone indicates the presence of a 10-sized ancient debris patch nearby. So it looks like we found this large patch of ancient debris. I mean, we certainly have, right? And here you can see there's some ignistone. So if you're out in the world, you can see it was actually pretty close to it, and you see it's right next to it as well. You can also find this ignistone stuff. Also get an achievement here. You can see for mining with Silk Touch. All right, let's take a look at some striders now. So let's see what happens when we shear the strider. So you can see when we shear the striders, they're going to lose the sort of tufts of hair they have. Now the striders, they will grow their hair back. You see? Just using some warped roots. I can even put it on the baby ones. Magma cream. Actually going to change the hairstyle of the striders. That's really awesome. Quite a few different hairstyles actually. Saddles as well being added to the loot table for piglins. You can see we can actually shear the saddle off as well. If we change the tick speed to a little bit higher here, you can see just placing crying obsidian over lava like this will actually create this walkway. That's really awesome. And you can see here, because of the flowing lava in this block, it's actually creating netherrack there. We're going to be looking at 1.17.1 fabric mod, this one. So here we can see the regular axolotls that we've got. We've got leucistic, wild, gold, cyan, and blue. So obviously the blue is the rare axolotl, and the others you'll find. Now these additional axolotls here, these 10 more, you can also find in the world, with the exception of the skulk and also the gloxolotl, which you need to get via breeding. So you can see if we just take a look at them, we can see that essentially this is like a variant of the leucistic, the lucia one. We have wild and wilder, the gold and golden, and then these ones are not. It could be cyan and cyanide as well. Here's leucistic, here's lucia. You can see whiter body, redder on the tail. We're going to go here. We have wild, and wilder is number 6. So you can see slightly. So for the wilder, you can see slightly lighter body for that. And now we're going to go for number 2, which is the gold, regular, vanilla, and 7 is golden. So you can see slightly paler on the golden one, more pronounced red on the tail. Here's cyan. So the cyanide one was 14. So obviously much deeper in the cyan. I guess it's almost like an upgraded axolotl from the regular ones. So here we have the green axolotl. And next up is the skulk. So the skulk, you can see more advanced looking. We have the dark axolotl now. So sort of blue-black axolotl, that one. We have the red axolotl now. They definitely have an audio effect as well. You can see the particle effects as well. Let's get started, shall we? So Artifality. So Artifality, as you can see, we've got a few different items that are going to be added here. One thing you'll notice in terms of world gem, we have the lunar crystal, the incremental crystal, and the life crystal. These are going to be crystals that you find similar to amethyst crystals underground, but they'll just be all over the place underground. So for instance, if we did a game rule here, and we're going to do the random tick speed, bump it up, you can see it's going to be similar to the amethyst. We're going to get these crystals growing out. Another thing as well to point out is if you want everything to look kind of better and cooler, you want to go for the resource packs. This will not be there automatically. It'll be on the left-hand side. So you want to just drag this over to the right-hand side to get the fancy clusters, which is included in the download. Okay, so then we can do is get a pickaxe, and we're going to be able to get a bunch of these different crystals. So the incremental one there as well. So you can see incremental, life, and then with the lunar crystal. We'll look at that in a minute, but one of the most important things, if we look at like what we can do here, you can see we've got this section. So there's a couple of different sections. So what we're going to do here is the first artifact is the ukulele, and this can be found in dungeon loot chests. So we're going to take the ukulele and we're going to take a look, see what that does. So if we take a look at what it's actually going to do, it says when used creates a cloud with a random positive effect under the player. If equipped on the back, creates a cloud with a random negative effect under the attacker. Okay, so let's have a look. So if we just right click here, you can see we've got a random positive effect. In this case, it is speed 2. If we then take an enemy, such as a Vindicator. Okay, now we're going to equip our ukulele on our back here. And we're going to take a Vindicator. And take a look at what happens once the Vindicator gets a hit in. So you can see the Vindicator has now got a negative effect and they're now levitating in the air. So we take a look at what these life crystals do. You can see we can make them into a crystal heart. And if we go beyond that, you can see we've got the harvest staff, the forest staff, and also the floral staff. Okay, let's take a look at the floral staff first. So the floral staff is just crafted with flowers and the crystal heart. So we can do this if we've got some bone meal in the inventory. We can start to plant flowers, and it will go through all the different flowers and actually give you a little bit of XP as well while you plant them. But what if we wanted to make this even better? Well, you'll notice if we look at the floral staff here, it says tier 1 at the top. So if we get this thing, the pedestal of upgrading, you can see this is made with obsidian, stone, and this actually sort of like works with a lot of the different stuff in this mod. So we take our pedestal of upgrading, and we're going to put that down here. Now you see, remember these crystals, the incremental crystals. If we take 5 of these, we can make them into an incremental orb, which is over here. So let's take those incremental orbs. Take a look what happens when we click on this. See, we now have got 3 of them there. So let's take a look what happens when we now right-click on the pedestal upgrade with the floral staff. Take a look at the floral staff. You see it now says tier 2. Let's take a look to see what happens now. I think it's giving me a little bit more XP this time. So the final level, I believe, is the Nether Star. So now we have a tier 3. Let's see if anything different seems to... Oh, you can't do the same one. Let's just get some more bone meal. Didn't actually realise, but you could just spam it on the same one. So that's definitely one way to get XP. Let's take a look at the other staff so while we're here. So we said if we go to the life crystals, we need to make the crystal heart. We have the harvest staff and also the forest staff. So we'll take the harvest and the forest. Let's have a look. So again with the harvest staff, you can just spam it. It's all pretty dependent on having a lot of bone meal in your inventory. The forest staff now, let's take a look at this one. Easy plant saplings and fertilizer. Okay. Bone meal on the hotbar, saplings in the inventory. So this is a very quick way. So essentially it means you don't have to swap out. You can just go around and plant a bunch of trees. Dungeon chests, you see there is this is a curse actually that you get. Makes you slide on all blocks like on ice. So there's a few enchanted books, 3 I think in total. So you can see you can find the staffs here in a loot chest. Alright, so we've now upgraded some of the other items here to the top tier. So you can see we've got to the balloon. So let's take a look at what we've got here. So the balloon, when in hand, increases jump, and when equipped, gives slow falling. Right click to fill with Dragon's Breath. So we've got the balloon when in hand, so you can see with this, these are all tier 3 at this point. As you can see, we get jump boost. You can also put this one in the head slot, I believe this one is, yeah. So that gives you that. We have the invisibility cape, which is kind of cool. So you can see, just put a piece of armor on just to illustrate this point. Okay, there's the cape. And if we take a look at our character, press sneak, you can see we're going to disappear completely. Obviously, the other trinket slots are still viewable, so you probably don't want to have other trinkets on when you do that. The Zeus staff summons lightning and can charge creeper, can charge at tier 2. Let's take a look at that. So we could briefly just charge a creeper, just take a look. There you go, you can see creeper charge there. Now this one is not say what it does. I know there is a trinket slot above the shield, which is a hand slot. I have a feeling it's going to go there when that gets implemented. And the final thing to mention is obviously these crystal lenses, which are made with the crystal blocks, which obviously, and they need netherite as well. And so now we have a max power beacon. And what does it say? It gives a random positive effect to players. Alright, so we take a look at what effects we're going to have here from the beacon. So we take a look at the life crystal lens, give an additional 10 hearts to players in radius if placed on top of the beacon. So let's place this on top of the beacon here. Okay, we may need to actually select some powers here. So let's maybe try resistance. So maybe if we get to a level 1, let's just see. So you can see there it is, the health boost 5. So that's the effect that we're getting. And you can see the extra 10 hearts there. So essentially it needs to be just a level 1 beacon will be enough. You don't need to do this in... There we go. Alright. So, what now? Let's take... So the lunar crystal lens. Random positive effect. So we just got fire resistance too. Oh wow, it's actually just constantly giving you a new one each time. That is an interesting one. Yep, it's just constantly giving you a different one on a timer. Okay, the incremental one. So obviously if you had a beacon with multiple beacons, you could put them all on. So this should give me, yeah, more powerful haste. And if I then go for... So what this mod does, lets you actually tame Ravagers. And you can see I just spawned it. There's actually, and they go really fast. And another thing you can do, which is also pretty cool, say we take the Frostwater enchantment and we take some horseshoes, put them together. So we'll go to our Ravager here. And then once you've done that, I just wonder if it keeps up. Kind of. So actually really fast. You can really traverse quite well, and you can just obviously go over water and oceans and stuff. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so that's a really cool feature of this mod, for sure. That's really awesome. And then if they take damage, you can feed them. For instance, if they take some damage, you can give them golden apples, and that's going to heal them up. But yeah, this is really fast. That is super fun. Let's actually look at it in F5 as well. So you can see. It's just I just wanted to show the effect in F5 as well, just because of how cool it is. No real reason. But yeah, it definitely keeps up. And you can see the general speed of it. It's pretty good. Okay, so there are actually some other things as well. We've got this called the slingshot. So let's see how this works. I think you need ender pearls for this, and it helps you to let's see. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. It works also with snowballs and eggs. So for instance, say I wanted to get over to this outpost right over here. Let's see how that works. Because that's probably further than I would be able to get with an ender pearl, right? It's pretty good. And I think it automatically teleports you as well. And it automatically does the calculation for damage. The fireworks star block. Well, it certainly seems like a quicker way to get fireworks stars. It's always like a, I don't know, the chorus gourd. Okay, so I believe you use shears on these guys. Let's see. So this is like a friendly. It's more for like village defense. I don't think Okay, we also have this. The Soul Fire Spitter uses blaze powder. It's oh wow. Only thing that seems to be here that I haven't looked at is the Seeker arrow. So let's not sure exactly. It sounds like it's going to just be a homing missile on the arrow. Oops. You can see also the effect there of the Ravager. So that's pretty useful as well. But yeah, so the Seeker arrows. I think you need to obviously shoot within a reasonable range. But yeah, definitely the standout feature is being able to. Yeah, I mean this is just amazing. Full speed on the Ravager. Look at that. You've got to be careful though. You can just burst through trees like that, which is really cool. I wouldn't say the traversal is particularly easy, but being able to just burst through trees, that's pretty handy, I would say. The jumping is not great though. Oh, did my boots break? Oh, they may have broken actually. Let's actually go out to sea. Yeah, you're literally walking on water. That's crazy. So we're playing on a new version of Dynamic Surroundings. I have done a video on this before. You can click here to check that one out. So you may notice to begin, we've got some of the audio there. You can hear the birds singing. We take a look at the controls here. You can see we've got Dynamic Surroundings. We've got Display Diagnostic HUD and Individual Sound Configuration. So you can see that currently I've got the planes, and because I'm near a river, we've got both of them running in the background under the emitter settings. So you can see if we go over to this other biome here, you can see as we go towards a swamp is going to have crickets, right? You can see outside crickets. And we have croak, we have bullfrog. These are not creatures that are actually in the game, they're just part of the ambient noise. So that's pretty cool. So the other button here is the individual sound configuration. This is a pretty cool button. What you can do is you can choose to cull the sound, so it'll be only a single instance over a short period of time. At a certain interval, you'll get that sound. You can block the sound entirely, or you can play it and you can actually then change the volume of the sound that happens. Another really cool thing here is it shows you where all the sounds come from. So you can see this is a Creative Commons 0 sound, and for instance you can get, so if you don't want to, if you were recording for the internet or streaming and you wanted to block, say, well, this one's got a non-commercial license, so I might want to block that one, and then you can block that one, for example. So you could do something like that, and then you can search for whatever sound you want here. And you'll also notice that the Minecraft sounds here also can be, you can do the same thing with those. So here you can see we're in a village now. You see that the loop of the forest and the ambient is running. And you can see that once I'm in the house here, it stops running. So it sort of knows that I'm inside, I guess. If we then further actually go down now into a cave area, you can see we've got underground ambient now. You can see ocean under ambient, we've got underwater ambience. Now we have the So it's pretty interesting how with the biome changing, how it becomes seamless. So there you can see the plains is added to the ocean and beach, then the ocean is removed. So essentially it puts in extra loops and combines the sounds into 2 or 3 sounds together, and as you continue crossing into that next biome, it then removes the previous biome you were in to give that smooth transition. If we go for a thunder as well here, so you can see we've got some weather sounds as well there. Get this sort of noise here. So we get wind, hills, ambient. And remember, I am using the traverse biomes here, so you're going to get some interesting combinations of stuff. Here we've got 5 different things going. Looking for that wind hills to go away. Let's see if it... So we've got river, jungle and forest here, which makes sense, right? So quite a pleasant sound in this kind of area. So we're going to look at how to make some of the stuff. So the woolen cloth, pretty straightforward. Just need any different kind of wool. You might also need the feather pile. It just can be, and you can also recraft this. You can make this into padding and also put it back into feathers. Maybe get some of that padding. And these are kind of like the essential items that you need just to sort of get going as well. There's also like you could make a blanket, so take a look at that. So you can see 6 woolen cloth for that. You could dye the blanket, for instance, and you get a loom. This is an interesting thing. If you get a loom and you right click the blanket, you see that you're actually going to get this menu actually appear. So then you're going to need a bunch of string, and you might want to, and you can see if I do this, you can see we're going to get all different stuff on the white blanket there. So for instance, let's see, I could just leave it. Obviously, if I wanted to, I could, for instance, put a dye in the middle here, and that would change sort of some of the stuff. We're just going to leave it now as it was, and I'm going to choose the one which I think is probably best. Let's just go through them all just so you can see the list of stuff. Okay, so let's just do this one, light grey circles. Okay, so we have our blanket here. We might actually want to get a bed. So if we look at bed, you can see there's a few different things that we can get. The build a bed kit, let's just see how this is made. You can see we need padding, woolen cloth. So we can make that. And then you can see that we have a bed structure. And we could do cot, classic bed, vintage bed, modern bed, rustic bed. And we're going to just stick with a normal, regular bed, I think, classic bed. And then what you do is you get the choice to what you actually want the bed, just because. Okay, and you can place the bed down. So what is the bed going to need? Well, we're going to need to have a sheet, aren't we? So a sheet, if you look at the recipe here, you can see 4 woolen cloth will make a sheet. And there are actually additional ways that you could dye that as well. You could put the sheet here, and then whatever goes in the first slot, see, that's going to be an orange sheet. But basically, the top left-hand corner slot takes precedence over everything. So that's going to be red. Even if I put, say, something which is going to... See, this would normally make purple, right? Red and blue make purple, but it doesn't. In fact, if I put a bunch of these in, you see, it does do something, but the red one has got way more precedence than the other ones. So our bed is currently copper colored, so let's go for, maybe let's do a yellow sheet. So we're just going to grab some yellow dye and do the yellow sheet. Let's go like that. All right, so we could put our sheet on the bed. And then we also have our blanket as well. And you also need to get a pillowcase. So for this bed, I think we're going to have a, what about this color pillowcase? So there's our bed. You can also get a, let's see if maybe just put a little bit of extra detail on our blanket. For this, there's a bunch of additional stuff. Let's see if I can find one I actually like. There's a lot of stuff here. These are probably my two favorites at this point. I haven't actually gone through this menu yet. Let's go for some good options. Let's try the sunflower one. I'm going to go for that, but I just want to go through the other options briefly as well, just because obviously interesting to see all the different options. Some Halloween options there, and some stuff for bronies. Okay, so let's go for lawn defense, right? So there you go. You can see that. Obviously, this is a bed, and this is basically the full state of the bed. But what you could do potentially is you could get this other thing, which is called a bedding package. So what the bedding package will do is, if you right-click with it, see it removes everything, and you can see we've got all of the bedding package is actually stored within that sheet. So I can take it, do that, and I can grab it back out. So, and there's other ways as well to adjust that. Like, for instance, if I wanted to, there are other options. I don't know what this does. Oh, didn't see this. So this, well, you can literally draw the pattern you want. Okay, because that was kind of a big deal I missed out. Actually, kind of like a pretty easy interface to use as well. Kind of fun. Back to drawing diagonal lines. Oh, you can right click. What does right clicking do? Right click seems to make it go black. Oh, it's because that's the other color. Right, so I could do, oh yeah. So you can specify both colors. Pencil tool, eraser, so the eraser would just remove stuff, yeah. That looks like an ink dropper. Let's see what it says. Color grab tool. Can I grab something from there? Not really. Not sure what the point of color grab if you can't color grab it from anywhere else, but pixel placement single, vertical mirror. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, you can see it doing it. So if I went back on here, that's pretty fun. What is this? Undo, nudge the image. Oh, look at that. It loops around. That's pretty cool. What's this? Vertical flip, rotate. What's this again? Color replace. So I want to replace. Okay, okay. All right, so we could save the embroidery, which is it's not exactly the greatest one. Yeah, that's not going to work very well, is it? If I just placed it on top as well, I don't think so. Let me not use this blanket, actually. Just use a regular blanket. Kind of. So yeah, it's probably better to actually design your own pattern on the bed there. So the final thing which I kind of forgot to mention is that we have these kind of cool ladders. Can you actually go up them? Let's see. Yep, you can go up them. And the way to make them, again, they can be whatever material you want. You can see we go to this sort of thing. We could make these out of amethyst, for example. And you just got cool ladders for whatever you need. we're in 1.17.1. This is fabric. So before we do that, I just want to show you, we've got here a spyglass just in our inventory here. And what I'm going to do is press the hotkey, which is from this mod called Quick Spyglasser. So what this can do is you can see, this is a mod that essentially lets you use the spyglass from anywhere in the inventory. So that's pretty cool. Now if you're underwater, you may want to use, so if you're underwater, okay, we're moving on to the actual nauticality now. So if you're underwater, you may want to use this. This is a submarine. You can see, obviously you can breathe in here. So if you want to go up in the submarine, you can just go up. So you can navigate like this. So you can go up to the surface, for example. Here we are on the surface. And if we just take a look at what it actually looks like from the outside. I'll just maybe see the other view as well. So you also have a light on the front of the submarine. Help you actually see what's going on. We've also got this underwater decorative block, algae. And there's also cattails as well. So yeah, pretty cool anyway. So we've got the pirate, glowfish, and of course the submarine. There we go. You just shift right click the book. And now let's take a look. Now we've got 14 charges. And so I wanted to have, let's try a different location somewhere else, just so we can go between two different locations. We're going to say in this jungle area somewhere. So we're going to right click, we're going to add jungle. And like I just showed you, if we right click that, we can rename it to something else. So if we want to go to jungle, pretty snappy I would say, and you can have up to 8 locations. This should be the hydro spawn. Let's see if I can, there we go. The lighting's a little bit wonky on this one. It looks pretty good there. Never really tried doing this much. Hydra does look good. Apart from with this weird pop-in thing, Hydra does look really, really good. Let's just do a kill on it.